So, good evening, everyone. I want to say thank you very much for joining this session. This is the first session or Designers Discourse webinar we'll be having this year. And it's a glad thing to be back, right? For personal unforeseen circumstances, right, we went into abyss for over a year, right, thereabouts, right, and having to raise the dead horse, right, can take a lot of effort, right. So, but I'm glad that we're back this year, and it's a pleasure and honor to have someone I respect across many fronts kickstart this session, which we're going to be having from time to time within the course of the year. Is no other person than Victor Fatomi, right? His bio, I'm sure you guys might have read it, is a brand consultant, leader, and identity campaigner. In quotes, I think you will need to talk to us on what he means by identity campaigner, because it's even quoted, right? So in 2015, he co-founded Fourth Canvas, an assembly of Africa's finest brand strategy and design minds. I know a couple of them. He's committed to living out his voice while helping other people and businesses find theirs, right? I think he's doing that through his, what do you call it? Speaking engagements, and also putting his thoughts into words, right? And he has a book, How to Sell. So we'll get right into that later. He's currently the Chief Brand Officer and Chief Marketing Officer at Mainstack. Mainstack is a no-code platform that makes it easy for creators to present their work and sell their best ideas, right? So if you don't know of Mainstack, you can check them on social media platforms. I think it's at themainstack.com. So Victor will be talking to us via audio. You won't be seeing his face. Just admire the fine headshot that you have on screen there, right? But I'm sure he's going to share a lot of things with us. And I personally, I believe I'm going to learn a thing or two. So Victor, welcome to Designers Discourse webinar, DD webinar. It's good to have you.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much, Sir Pedro. I met a brief practice of my name. I appreciate the effort. You guys didn't get it right, but it's the effort that counts. So, let me. I intend to do a YouTube video just explaining my name one day.
All right.
But it is Fatomi. It goes from I, then comes on Fatomi. That is, it's a shorter way of saying Ifa Kotomi. That is, Ifa does not deceive me. It's Fatomi. Yeah. The first sound is the IS, then it crashes down from there. Do you want to try?
So it's me, do me, fa, tom me.
So it is not, so you know, do re mi is not exhaustive. There are sounds in between it. So it's
okay.
Cannot say it with do re mi. It's not sufficient. Okay. There's a sound in between fa. So the longer version would have been fa tom me, which would have been mi do 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 mi do do mi do do mi or no mi, something like that. But there's a merger of two sounds at some point. Yeah, but you can't find it in do re mi. Yeah. Yeah. So it's not the simple Yoruba that you can just put do re mi enough. Like it's a little complicated, I know, but it's because of our intonation. So Ijesha has slightly different intonations, and they make a huge difference. So it's not the classic Yoruba. Ijesha has a different intonation. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I see. I see. Well, thanks for schooling us. Thanks for schooling us. Just like mine is actually Osho Beju. But I don't care. Well, maybe I should care.
So that means we should be saying, oh wait, Osho Beju. So that should have been Sho Beju. Yeah. That should have been Sho Beju.
Yeah.
Sho Beju. Interesting.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, happy to hear. Let's do.
Yeah, so let's get right into it. Victor, we usually have webinars where we talk across different subjects and all that, right? And just for every other person who is on this call, I took particular interest in this topic, right? For the sake of one, right? We're creatives, we're designers, we're thinkers, we're strategists, right? And two, for the sake of the upcoming election, right? Whether we like it or not, right? We should vote or might vote or should influence others to vote, right?
Yeah.
And we would only do that based on who we trust, right? And you cannot trust someone who doesn't communicate certain things to you, right? Who doesn't promise certain things to you, right? So when I came up with this topic, in fact, where this topic came up from was I read your article from your interview with Channels TV, where you shared your experience with previous campaign designs and all that creative that you did for past aspirants who finally got into office, right? And that sparked my interest. So this session will be a session where you would talk to us on what you think you were trying to achieve, right? While you were a designer, or while you were a creative, or while you were a brand designer in that role, right? And why you so I need you to clear out something. Have you been in that space of designing brands or designing brand campaigns for elections before Fourth Canvas while you were VGC? Have you been doing that?
Okay, that's an interesting question. So
Let's start from there.
let me see. I'm trying to recall the timeline of a particular campaign I did that I designed on for a candidate called MOB in Ekiti. I can't recall what year it contested. I don't know if it's before 2015 or not.
Okay.
If it was before 2015, that was not Fourth Canvas. Now, in 2015, from 2014 December to 2015 around February, I designed on the campaign that elected the current president, GMB Buhari, and Fourth Canvas was founded in November 2015, later that year.
Okay.
So officially, it was not Fourth Canvas. It was before Fourth Canvas. Of course, at that it was still team, and the people who would become Fourth Canvas were together already, and as VGC media, and I got some help where necessary. But it was largely an individual engagement. I left Akure, I left the team in Akure, went to Lagos to sit down with Red Media Africa, who were the ones manning the campaign, and I was working on contract with them.
I see.
Yeah. Yes. It was not a direct engagement.
Thanks for that clarity.
I was hired as a part of on contract to provide design and branding, as a part of a team set up by Red Media Africa. So the media company that worked with the president, the candidate, is Red Media Africa. Yes. But of course, we were a part of it. I was a part of it in extension. My team, it was portfolio, it became a sort of portfolio for Fourth Canvas. Because of course, when you're part of an effort like that, everybody it's like if an artist does a song and it wins Grammy, the producer also won Grammy.
Absolutely.
Right? The songwriter won Grammy. So even though they may not be the main characters, but so for years it was something that also was regarded as people kind of regarded as a portfolio for us, and we also proudly associated with it in those immediate years. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for that. Because in fact, it now brings me to a word in your bio that says an assembly of Africans, because I assumed it was Fourth Canvas, right? In fact, I don't think I connected it to Red Media. I connected it to Stagecraft Incorporated. Is it Inc?
Oh, sorry, it's actually Stagecraft, but Stagecraft is a member of Red Media Group.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so it was Stagecraft that I knew that probably you were in collaboration with, right? While that, and I'm glad that you cleared the air, because Fourth Canvas is an assembly actually, right? when someone runs with something, you see the army of whether they are staff or not staff, as long as they're believers in fourth canvas, they push it out. And so, well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Because I saw a lot of your creatives, all the campaign designs that was done, and how that's played it. In fact, it went into mainstream media, right? People saw your work.
One more thing to just clarify. One more thing to clarify. Yeah,
Okay.
of course, I was the works I designed were everywhere. It was on BBC documentaries, and it was part of, like, as everybody spoke about, because campaign was a huge one in that sense. It was the first time opposition was winning in Nigeria.
Yeah.
When it happened, we were so proud. Of course, 6 months later, we stopped being proud when the new president couldn't even select ministers. We started to feel like, okay, this was great to be a part of something this huge, but back to being citizens back from doing business as engaged to do your work, to being citizens who were hopeful for change. And it took 7-8 months, we decided already to realize that, okay, this is not looking good. But in terms of the designs, the other thing I wanted to clarify is, when I say that I designed on the Buhari media campaign, sometimes people can assume that it meant that every beautiful poster they saw in that period was done by me, but that's not true. Because, like any campaign, people will stand up by themselves, unsolicited, and create posters to support the candidate. So it's like Peter Obi right now, for example. People are spending their own money to go and print shirts, to create posters, to make people are doing events on the media. So the official campaign team for Peter Obi will probably be responsible for maybe 10% of everything that will circulate, because in their own case, they're not even that. The current campaign is not strong on. It's not about visual branding and all. The strength of the current campaign have been videos and word of mouth. It's been Peter Obi's speeches. About. It's been so you don't even see so much. Think about it. How many posters of Peter Obi do you see on the street? There isn't so much. There isn't so much. The strength of the campaign is word of mouth. It's a lot of word of mouth and the videos on the internet, which now, where people started to make error is they thought it was just Twitter. But those videos, those media makes it to WhatsApp, makes it to Naira Land. And the moment you enter those two places, you can as well say those things are getting to everybody, because everybody's on WhatsApp. The level of mobile penetration in Nigeria is crazy, even to the rural settlements. Any video that is making rounds on WhatsApp has crossed all demographics. It's no longer a social media thing. So yeah, back to GMB. I would say that maybe 40% of posters that you saw in that period were designed by me, but definitely not more than that. Because even I was the one, so I could say I was the only official graphic designer on that campaign, because I was the only graphic designer on the only official media team for that campaign. But there were several other media teams sponsored by different people. APC Lagos would create its own. The VP of Sibajo had people from, I think, I don't know if it's Anako, engage them to be their own. Everybody is working from different sides, but we were on the central official team. But yeah, I just wanted to clarify that, because there are many beautiful posters I also love. I'm like, oh, that's nice, that's nice. But most people think I did all of them, but no, that's not true.
Wow. Thanks for that clarity. Right. Yeah. So another quick question I want to ask you. So it's obvious, because I myself, I think I voted 2015 because of the campaign messages that was like that was pushed to me in 2015, right? And I voted 2015. I couldn't vote in 2019 because I was sick, right? But even if I wasn't sick, I wasn't going to vote in 2019, right? So I want to ask you, the success of a campaign, can you only quantify it based on the aspirants winning or getting into office, or what it does while in office, right? That question might be quite tricky, right? So can you say the campaign, the branding in terms of visuals, audio, whatever messaging was successful because he brought him into power? Can we also tie the aftermath or the outcome of the person staying in office to the impact of the campaign and also say, oh, because that person flopped one in office, then the campaign was not successful? It's a
Okay,
tricky question.
nice. But
Feel free to.
I like the question and I understand it. I like it and I understand it. So I think that it depends on, there's two ways you can look at it and it will influence the answers differently. Emmanuel has his hand up, by the way. I don't know if it's by mistake. But
Okay, I think
if
probably that's
you,
been odd as well, but I'll take
okay,
questions later.
okay. If you look at it as election campaign effort, it is 100% successful the moment the candidate wins, because election is elect, right? So if you gather together and you make promises and people believe those promises and people vote, the moment that voting is done, then it's successful. There's no further search into the data of what happens faster if you measure it from the perspective of election, branding in that sense. But when you
Okay.
look at it from the perspective of the candidate branding, and both are at play, both is so. If you ask me, okay, if you look at it from the perspective of the candidate branding, then on the moment they're elected, that's just half of the process. What happens after is what will determine if it was successful or not. So if you take it to products, maybe everyday business and products, if
Yeah.
you brand and advertise to me in a way that I then decide to buy, right? You
Mm-hmm.
have succeeded halfway. Then when I then experience what I just bought, if I want to buy again, that's when your success has really that's when you have really succeeded. So in fact, we could look at it this way. Advertising would end the moment I have bought it, because the direct goal of advertising is to grab my attention and to make me buy. But branding
Yeah.
is just halfway, because branding continues. If I was excited by
Okay.
your advertising and messaging and I bought the product, then I was then pissed afterwards. The advertising succeeded, the branding failed, because the advertising is
Wow.
directly towards me buying. So if we look at it, advertising in this case would be like the election campaign. The election, the word just by the word election, the entire goal is to be elected. So if you look at it from the
Yeah.
perspective of the election campaign, then it succeeds the moment the candidate wins. If you look at it from the candidate branding, the branding of this person, look at Obasanjo, for example. If he says
Yeah.
something today, several years after his presidency, or no matter what we ask, if his power, the power of whatever he says now is based on his brand, the Olusegun Obasanjo brand. That means even to today, that branding is continuous for him, right? So it
Mm.
depends on how you look at it. Yeah, but
Wow.
of course, the election campaign goals is a subset of the individual candidate's branding. Yeah, in that sense.
Wow. Wow. Guys, I'm sure you're learning a thing or two. And the reason why I also use the word branding is because most of us are designers, right? We do branding for business. And I feel uh, a brand, right? I think Uche Ugo wrote something about personal branding, right? And I'm sure a couple of us understand what a brand is, right? Unfortunately, the layman doesn't understand what branding is, right? You just feel, okay, branding is just, oh, t-shirt branding, put logo, right? Put this face cap, right? Just, oh, do you do branding? Yes, I do branding. Okay, I have umbrella to brand. And in a way, it's still an effort to market that product, right? But like Victor said, let me just stop at Victor, right? Said, it's beyond the advertising. It's beyond the influencing to buy. It's beyond the influencing to elect, right? It goes beyond that. And Victor, I would ask a further question, right? So, which is much, much important? Branding a political party or branding the flag bearer? Because, take for example, let's go back to 2015, right? When there was a change of power, right? Do you think Goodluck could not be reelected or lost because of himself as a person or because it was PDP, right? Do you think the present, let me say outgoing, because it's going to go, the outgoing president, right, before he came in,
Going to
do you
go
think
in
he came
Jesus'
in?
name. Oh, oh, it's already
Do you-
done, Sha. But it will be
it's
gone
not,
so well that there won't be a replacement from his side.
absolutely.
Consider.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you think on the standpoint of advertising or branding to elect, right? Do you think it was based on his person or based on the party, right? In a couple of weeks, months, right? People have party members, party candidates have been going across the state, right, to canvass for votes and all that, right? Are people trunking out in mass in support of the party or the candidate, right? I wanted to help us unpack that.
Yeah.
That's is it? Should I brand
Mm.
the individual, or should it be the party that should be
I think
branded as? Yeah, please go
I
ahead. Thank
think
you.
that both are equally important, and they can influence the other. So you can have an average party nobody cares about, and because people care about the candidate so much, they then start to care about the party. That's the perfect example of Peter Obi and Labour Party. Labour Party has no, apart from Mimiko in Ondo State, at some point, Labour Party had no brand or anything. There was just, then
Absolutely.
Oshiomhole was there too, I think, in the earliest years, but nobody had any reason to care about Labour Party, right? But people are the candidate they were caring about, and they saw as hope. They saw some hope within PDP setup, which again it's not like young people liked PDP, but they liked the
Okay.
candidate and they were like, okay, this is some hope, we can start from there. Then the PDP people walk him out of the party, made it impossible for him to contest fairly. So if he went to whatever party he went to, whether it was XXX, we would have followed him there in that sense. So, but in some other cases, it could be the other way around where a relatively unknown candidate is feeded by a party, but because that party has a reputation, maybe that party has been good in other states or they have been good at a particular level, it is possible that the that party then influences the individual. But now that I explain it, to be honest, I'll take back what I said. It's not 50-50. So the
Okay.
individual is actually more important. But
Okay.
but for the sake of the fact that on election ballots, it is the party that is there, not the individuals. That's why you must also then market and ensure that the awareness of the party grows up and matches up with that of the individual as much as possible. So I would say,
Mm.
in importance, I would give it more to the individual, but in so again, these words overlap, right? But just to explain, in I would say that in repute. Okay, so there's fame and there's popularity.
Yeah.
I don't know if we all know the difference, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Popularity is basically is just on numbers that we all know this name, and then fame as there's the quality of the opinion we have of someone before we say someone can be popular but not famous. It means that
Mm.
everybody knows them, but we don't respect them. We don't owe them in high esteem. We don't love them. They are just popular. So, for example, um, a president can be more
Yeah.
popular than a music artist, but a music artist is more famous, is more likely to be more famous than the president. I just wanted
Mm.
to explain that to everybody. So, in the word fame, there's positivity in it, that we like this person. The word popularity, especially for a president that is not doing well, is just popular, not famous. So I would say that the fame of the individual matters more, and the popularity of the party matters more in that sense. So more like on fame, more about the individual; on
Yeah.
popularity, more about the party. So it means that for the party, you need awareness. For the
Okay.
individual, you need quality PR. For the individual, you need quality branding. So you're not just trying to let everybody know the name of the individual. You're trying to have everybody have the right opinions about the individual. So at the
Mm.
moment, for example, almost every young person in Nigeria knows Showore in this election.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's not the person most of us are going to vote for. For whatever reason, he has fallen off that, third party, third choice, and third force. It's not the. I
Mm.
mean, my comment is just purely analytical, factual. It's not in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
top four of the race at all. I voted for Warren in the last election, so clearly it's not about maybe I hate him, but it's just factually he's falling off, right? So, but you know Showore's
Mm.
name. Everybody on this call knows Showore's name, and everybody on this call knows that Showore is contesting for president. So it's popular, but Peter Obi is not just popular; it's famous. But in the terms of the
Mm.
party, all you need is you need both, but spend your resources making your party popular, and on making your individual famous, the candidate famous. That's what I would say. Yeah, the party
Ah.
needs to be popular
Omo.
because,
You guys are
yeah,
taking it too.
yeah, and I'm trying my best to simplify it. The party needs to be popular because on the day of the election, that's what people are going to vote for. They must know the name of the party.
Yeah.
They must know what the logo looks like. They must know the slogan. They must be able to identify it symbolically. So if you're going to pester posters everywhere or anything for more eyeballs, it's just eyeballs. Just go. If I make noise, just be loud. For the candidate, you can't be making noise. You need to be telling stories. Yeah, you need to be
Mm.
telling stories for the candidate. You need to be making noise for the party. It's not stories. Nobody. It's people. It's not so much about PDP. Nobody holds any opinion in that sense about PDP. Especially in Nigeria, we don't think of these parties and think of an ideological point of view. We don't think that APC has a point of view. In fact, we don't think the Labour Party has a point of view in that
Mm.
sense. They're just
Mm.
vehicles, right? We
Yeah.
just need to be aware of the vehicle. So I would say popularity for party, fame for the candidate. Yeah.
Wow. 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 Thank you very much. Two things I noted. Difference between popularity and fame, and also the fact that awareness and quality PR, right? So it's a two-legged, right? So
Yeah,
awareness, PR, fame, popularity, there needs to be that match, right?
exactly.
And that's what wins. So, and that clarity, this is the digression. Were you also part of people that worked on, because I know there was a point when I don't know if I read wrongly, you were also part of people that had to do with, I don't, was it in the re-election or in the coming to power of the president of Ghana? Because I know statecraft was also has
It
something to
was
do with that.
yes.
Was
That
it
was
around
so
the same?
the very following year after GMB in Lagos in Nigeria. I was a part of state cap as well. This repeating the same thing.
Okay.
Ghana. It was coming to power, not re-election. It was coming to power. What I was a part
Oh,
of
it's coming to power.
re-election. Yes, but I was a part of the re-election of the president of Senegal. So I was a part of election of
Oh,
president
okay.
of election of president in Ghana. I'm part of re-election of president in Senegal. But the two most significant in terms of was the two coming to power in Nigeria and Ghana, because
Wow.
I think also in Ghana it was the first time. I don't know if it was the first time opposition was winning, but I know that the candidate had also campaigned. The candidate had campaigned two times unsuccessfully. I think in Nigeria,
Oh,
Buhari had campaigned 3 times unsuccessfully.
3 times. Yeah.
Then one with
Wow.
statecraft intervention and many other factors, including the
Wow.
amalgamation of AC and CPC. And then in Ghana,
Yeah.
Ghana had lost twice and it was winning the third time. So that was really groundbreaking opposition victories. While in Senegal, it was really a lot just about ensuring that it was more. So, for example, it was more PR in Senegal
Yeah.
than not. It was more okay. Do people? I mean, you can't be trying to re-elect the current president and your first strategy is to get posters everywhere. No, because there's no problem of people knowing the current president.
True.
It's a case of what opinions do they hold of him. Not
Okay.
is not exactly. So if you're trying to re-elect someone who has been in power for 4 years, and your first prior strategy is and again, if you notice, Sanwo-Olu's posters, Sanwo-Olu had more posters in the last election than he has right now. Can you recall how much they
Yes.
bombarded us with
Yes.
posters? Can you notice that right now it's
Yes.
not as much? It's not as
Yes.
much. We don't have as much. Then we used to joke on Twitter now that if you enter your room, you can meet
Yes.
someone
Now,
hanging in your bedroom.
someone is pointing
That's
at you.
because exactly
Yeah.
because we didn't know him, right? So it needed more noise, right? Of course, we also needed storytelling to have an opinion, but it needed more noise. But
Yeah.
if someone who
Yeah.
filled Lagos with posters right now, then it will be stupid because popularity is not your problem. We all know you. But what
Yes.
opinions do we hold of you?
Yeah.
That's the first thing right now. So, and
Mm.
it's
Mm.
clear they're aware of that as well. Yeah, but of course, you can
Wow.
use.
Thank you.
But of course, you can also use awareness to influence. You can use popularity to influence fame, and this is why.
Yeah.
If people already think well of you, but not many people, if the few people who know you think well of you, right?
Yeah.
Then it means that when you then get popular, there will be more opportunities to talk about you. You spur more conversations. When you get popular, you then spur more
Yeah.
conversations. So when 2 people are passing and they see your poster, and one already has good opinion about you, right? He would say, see this guy, you
Yeah.
don't see this guy. He's contesting a correct guy. Oh." But if that poster was not there,
Mm.
there would not be an opportunity to spread that your reputation, even though your reputation is good. So sometimes you can use popularity to grow your fame, but it must be that you already have a seed of goodwill. You already have a good reputation,
Yeah.
just that not many people hold that opinion. So again, that could be an example to
Yeah.
double down on popularity. But it's too, and I
Yeah.
think this thing applies not just in election, it applies to business. There's a very clear difference between
Yes.
popularity and fame, and people need to be aware of it.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I'm glad you brought in the aspect of business because even though we're talking about political campaigns, right, branding, having to see it from the standpoint of business is also very, very, very important, right? Thank you very much, Victor, for that. So I move on to something else now. So a couple of us, if not most of us on this call, are designers. I mean visual designers, right? So whether someone is contesting for councillorship at the ward level or some sort of, in fact, in some secondary schools or high schools, maybe private, you see them doing campaign for school prefect post, like head boy, head girl, right? You see them with the visuals, right? Manifesto, acronyms of the name, and all that, right? So any one of us could have been engaged, right? Even it really doesn't have to be at that level because everybody just talks about the presidential. I don't think most people don't care about their LGA chairman, right? Or maybe by extension, the state governor. Most people don't care, right? Focus is always on the presidential election, right? Now, as designers, right, do you think what do you think makes up of good visual design in the context of political campaigns, right? You see a couple of people, senators, all that, engaging designers left, right, and center. Let me design this. In fact, there was someone that commented on one of the post to create awareness for this webinar, and the person mentioned that, oh, this is his forte, right? And all that. I was like, okay. I went to his page and I checked. Oh, this is your forte, right? And from a designer point of view, I was like, why are your designs like this, right? Do you think design from a visual point of view, I'll come to the messaging part after, from a visual point of view, can also influence, right, people making certain decisions, right? Will you see a Peter Obi poster, if there's any, or a Tinubu poster that is badly done, and be convinced to vote for that person? Do you think that has a psychological impact on people making decisions, or visual design is just there?
So
Then I'll go to the next question.
It does. The reason why it has seemed to be lost in the grand scheme of importance is that there are many other factors bigger than it. So it is a factor, but it is not the most important factor. It is not it is a factor that has its role, but it's not the most important factor. It's not the second most important factor. Do you understand? So it is easy for us to then think it is not a factor at all, but no, it is a factor. But no matter how good your poster is, like, let's come back to business. In case of a business, the poster would be, again, close to maybe asking, how much impact does it matter if what your adverts look like, right? It's like now saying that, of course, there's a challenge of how good is your product and what are the reviews people are writing about your product online. So if I see an ad online and I'm like, I like this product, let me order, and I see 1-star review and people saying this guy does not deliver, the poster does not play any role any longer. I'm out. So, but the same way in political discourse, people are winning elections based on several factors. People are losing based on several factors because people hate them, because people like them, because they belong to a popular party. And the party has money to make a bigger noise because they have the Godfather. Or there's so many factors in elections, especially in Africa, that the priority of posters then goes down. But if a lot of those factors tick, if all of them tick, and then with the visual posters, the designers are able to then be strategic in a way that those posters influence people in the right direction, then that can add more value to a campaign that's already going in the right direction. But those other factors are so strong compared to things like aesthetic for people that if all of those factors are wrong, are not in the right place, the posters will not be able to do enough to save the situation. To save the situation. So the summary is that the poster is important, but the degree of the importance is not as high as several other prevailing factors in electioneering in Africa.
Thank you very much for that, because I've seen a couple of posters. I'm like, as designers, we are always, especially if we know the right thing, we understand design principles, like, why is this like this? Why is this like that, right? That's just we being very finicky about design principles, right? But I'm glad you said it's beyond, it plays a role, but not in the grand scheme of things, as other very, very, very vital factors, right? That would ensure that you
before you go ahead, a good example is, I'm coming to speak on how important is my dressing. My speech is more important, right? The factual correctness of the things I'm about to say, the confidence with which I spoke, how educative what I said, my poise, how much I took questions, how much I explained, right? Matter more to how people would rate my speech a while after, My dressing also
Yeah,
matters, but it's just not as important as other things. Sure you get.
absolutely.
So you can't say,
Absolutely.
if you say what makes a great speech, nobody will
Mm.
remember to mention dressing. Dressing is there,
True.
but it's not the
True.
number one thing. It's not the number two. It's probably not the number
True.
three. Of
True.
course, I mean, you had said that would be your next question. But when you get now to branding from like the strategic and messaging part, the level of importance moves up a lot higher. But
Very.
the final result of visual design is to elevate and
Mm.
to amplify and to
Mm.
add value to something that's already going in the right direction. What can change the direction of success of something is more strategic, while
Mm.
what visuals can do is to add to it, is to add to a poster cannot change the course of a failing business,
Yeah.
or a poster cannot change the course of a failing candidate, but it can
Yeah.
advance the course, it can elevate it. But
Yeah.
strategic decision making, um, sometimes messaging, but with less importance, those things have higher powers to turn things around than the design. So as designers, it's just what it is. We have our place in the grand scheme of things. Our place is to help the presentation, the quality of the presentation of things in a way that
Mm.
they in fact become perceived higher than they were when we
Mm.
met them. But often
Mm.
times, graphic design is not going to turn something from bad to good. It can just make
Mm.
something good to be better, right?
Mm.
Strategy is where you can turn something from bad to good, or where you have a chance or let me say, strategy is closer to
Yeah.
turning something from bad to good. Communication is also a little closer, but the posters is going to take something from. So it's like moving from +1 to +2, but you
Mm.
can't move from -1 to +1 with posters.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Thanks for that, because and so designers on this call, I'm sure you understand what Victor is saying, right? So if you have any questions, please note them down. Victor is in no way, right, trying to demean or belittle your profession or the great work you do, to elevate um, um, certain things that you are trying to push out, right? It's just saying that there's there's more strategy, right? In fact, strategy is what makes you know how to outsmart your competitor, right? And all that, right? So because there was something I wrote down where while this event was being promoted, right, is the fact that these aspirants, right, engage brand consultants, designers, brand strategists, and all that. I don't know if it's on this call, you'll be able to talk about how designers can also position as brand strategists, to be able to elevate not just for political campaigns, but for businesses. But before I go into that, there's something I want you guys to listen to. And Victor, I want you to talk extensively on this, right? Well, maybe not extensively, but at least share your 2 cents on this. Give me a moment.
So
I don't
check
know if
your
Victor was
WhatsApp.
not.
So we're also check your WhatsApp. I left a message for you.
Okay. Uh, I know, or I want to touch on this because this one is actually okay. So yeah, but this one is of more importance, and I don't know, you might be delighted to talk on it or not, but just for your viewing pleasure.
Wow. Yeah, sure. This guy called Chicago. How do you want to use the word righteous in his campaign message? Wow. Yeah, sure. This guy called Chicago. How do you want to use
Interesting.
the word righteous in his campaign message? Wow.
So thank you very much for that. Like I when I saw that, I just did laugh. Like,
I think
so
that's when we
if you know
started
me,
talking about this. Yeah, that's when you started talking to me about this session. Yeah, I think after that.
yeah, do you get? So messaging, right? Messaging is very, very important. Now, I want to ask you, right? Based off on these, we can see their messaging.
Right.
So one is saying deliver Nigeria, one is saying recover Nigeria, one is saying renewed hope. Now, so the posters, the design visuals, like you said, right, might not do anything, but the messaging, right, in terms of what you're communicating, the promise, because I believe brand is about promise, and also, or a brand is built on promise and also delivering on that promise, right? Do you think these are just I don't know, baits to win votes, or can people sense a bit of promise that will be delivered from this? What's your take on this? Right, in 2 minutes, just tell us the essence of messaging with reference to the video that I just played, like Chicago, righteous, F13. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah. So, messaging is very important, and there are many factors to how much impact it can have. If you're saying something on your poster and you are repeating it in your campaigns, so that people start to say it, like in 2015, the best messaging was change, just one word, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everybody was everywhere, and
Yeah.
they said it on it wasn't just on the posters, it was also so. I feel like the first factor with the success of messaging is how strategic and consistent is the message in the first place. Did you just write something nice for a particular
Okay.
poster, or did you carefully pick something that connects to your point of view?
Okay.
Because if it connects to your point of view, or something that you decide will be your point of view for the campaign, it means that it is not enough if the message lives only on the poster. It only means anything if it's on the poster as one expression. While if you sit in an interview, your talk. So if Tinubu says renewed hope from morning till night, but if in his speeches he's saying something else, right? And you don't even hear the words renewed hope or synonyms of it or stories or messages that connect to. I mean, if just to paint the picture in my head, if renewed hope is going to be a strong message, then Tinubu should get on podium and say things like, "Oh, when I moved back home from US in 19 something something, I had hope for Nigeria, and for several decades, many things went in the wrong direction, blah, blah, blah. Over the past 8 years, we have started to move in the right direction." He won't be able to say that though, because that's not the truth. But I'm just giving an example. We've started to move in the right direction. We began on the journey of change, and we're at a moment in which we can only be hopeful about the future. And I'm here as someone who has always been hopeful about Nigeria, whose hope has been dashed repeatedly. But I dare say now that there's time for us to be hopeful again. We cannot afford to give up on this country. This is not the time to do that. Now is the time to continue to believe, right? If you give a speech like that, and I saw renewed hope on your poster, now again, then that feels strong. Then the person read, the kid or the teenager voting for the first time, who saw renewed hope on your poster and watched the video of your speech at Chatham House, and you were speaking about hope and how much you are going to wake up the dying trust that young people have in countries, that people are flying out to the UK every day, and it's because they've lost hope, but you are the new icon of hope and all. But the funny thing is that as I'm saying this, everything I've said now, I can't find one thread of connection, or I've not heard Tinubu say anything in any way close to what I just said now. So the renewed hope line on the poster is misguided. It's just creative communication that is not in alignment with anything. So creativity should be applied to something that is strategically right. Again, back to designs. the design should be elevating something, but it
Yeah.
should connect to a well thought about strategy. In this case, renewed hope to me just sounded like they are like, change that loan last time. Okay, let's change again. What can we
Yeah.
say now? Okay, let's say hope. Let's say renewed. Since we're not opposition, we want to continue whatever. So let's say renewed hope. Don't worry, Buhari didn't fully fulfill it, but he tried. But we are renewing that. We bought new fuel of hope. And they made it in the posters. Maybe Sheyi Tinubu came up with this and wrote it. He's a good advertising person. It sounds nice. It looks nice on the poster, but it's empty. Tinubu never says anything. He doesn't even try. He's not even trying to. Tinubu doesn't even try.
Sorry to cut it. The OMP is the insignia of the BAT guy. Like creativity now, now.
That's exactly. The beautiful poster. That poster is beautiful. Okay, the 3 posters are beautiful, right? Yes. So it's not. But it's like, where's the alignment? It could have just gone to put Emiloka on the posters. That would be a stronger poster. If that poster said, "It's my turn."
It's my turn.
Or if that poster said, "Time to lead," or time for the Jagaban, or it's the leader's time, or time for true leadership. If you had Emiloka in a video that went viral, and you see, even though there is, we abused it, that it was entitlement and all of that, but a poster that said it's time for true leadership would have been a better way to say Emiloka without saying exactly Emiloka. But it would have been aligned with your message has been that now is the time for the Yorubas, and you are the Yoruba that is most qualified. So it's time for true leadership. It's time for this. That concept of it's time for something would have been stronger in connection with what is your natural point of view.
Absolutely.
The PAT and every Yoruba person that will vote is based on, we just say, okay, it's our time.
Absolutely.
At end is coins. So this whole renewed hope, I don't know where it's coming from. I don't hear any bit of it in the speech. So it's empty. I've not listened to the article enough. I don't know what he's talking about. But vote for Nigeria to recover. Right? Again, your messaging should connect with recovery. Your messaging should connect with restoration. Your message should connect with, you should be saying, why did nobody say he wants to build on progress for renewed hope? You should be saying that the past 8 years has taken us back 80 years. And that we like a sick and ailing candidate individual, we need to recover now for the sake of the future of our children. Right? If you're not standing that way, there's no point your poster should be saying vote for Nigeria to recover. Right? I see you didn't get the poster with a message on Peter Obi.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
So this is a popularity poster, for example. The focus of this was popularity, and they need it. See how big that Labour Party logo is. And it's what I was telling you the last time, that there's popularity and there's fame. And this poster works well enough for Peter Obi. You know why? He has already gotten his fame through other means. The videos are everywhere. Peter Obi has the highest number of videos. Like, the strategy of this election has been those videos. He goes to like 3 interviews per day. And you cannot run out of content for Peter Obi. So the strength of Peter Obi campaign is not posters. It's videos. It's live videos. Sometimes recorded with ugly phone cameras. But he has both the very strong ones as well as the funny videos, like this one that went popular as a meme. It's a madman that gave me the advice. Something like that.
Okay.
Right? But Peter Obi has been videos. So this poster can afford to be this. This poster is not trying to strategically influence people. This poster is popularity. You already had an opinion for him. The chance for this poster is that somebody is passing, me and my friend are walking, and we see this poster, and I can use that one to remember that you don't call it a PVC. More vote this guy. That's the role this poster is playing. And this poster is actually better than the other 2.
The other one's true.
If it's in design, they're all good, but personal opinion, I'll choose an article poster.
That's
the 2 of them. Just keep it this very, very. I don't know. The best poster is the one in the middle, followed by BAT. Actually, the Labour Party is probably the last, but it's also nice, right?
Absolutely.
So, but like I said again, if they win, visual design excellence is not one of the strengths of the Peter Obi campaign. No, it's videos, it's picking where if you watch his video at Chatham House, that's incredible. Brilliant responses, and that's the strength of his campaign.
Yeah.
So messaging is important, but it should align.
Tie it to Chicago, please.
Now back to Chicago. So
yeah.
now get something right. And I think that as you understand this thing more, if you go check, if you type my name online, there's some articles I wrote in the past that I wouldn't write again. That my opinions have changed. I wrote articles criticizing, giving my critique of some logos, F1 rebrand, iMobile, Uber, and all of that. But the more experience you gain, the more you see things from different sides.
True.
The more you realize that nothing is black and white. A beginner or an amateur or someone in the middle is looking for simple answers. He wants to know, is this thing good? Yes. Is it not good? No. And then we leave the word. But the more experience you gain, the more you realize that there are not straightforward answers to most things, to most questions in the world. Right?
Absolutely.
So if you post that bad, is the logo bad? That question, if you think about it properly, it's actually very, very hard to answer.
Yeah.
Forget all of the design principles and all, right? It is difficult to answer. If you think properly through it, you cannot quickly say that a design is bad or is good. Because if you think about it well, your answer would be it is good, and then you go ahead and explain what you mean by good. Because the word good is relative to who is looking at it, what is it trying to represent, what is it trying to achieve, what's the cultural context of the audience. There's so many factors. You cannot absolutely say that a design or a piece of message is good or is bad. Which I'm giving you, see why I said this now. From my perspective and then my demographic, I'm the person living in I live in Shomolu, but I'm not going to vote here. I'm not from here. I don't care about politics or the reality of what's happening here in that sense. Chicago is not campaigning to me. Although I should care though, because people like that can influence security in the area and all of that. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Chicago should be talking to me, but I'm not his primary audience in Shomolu. Okay. So while looking at it from my own, perspective and maybe education or maybe analysis or maybe judgment of someone like him, a politician in Shomolu and all of that, I have my biases. When I see the word righteous next to his name, I'm like, what are you talking about now? Who show you the why me? That's my reaction. But actually, that message, that communication, I don't know, might in fact be great communication if you analyze it well enough. I said might. I have not spoken to people in the market or people on the streets. But another possibility, while I made a video mocking it and I posted it, although I did it in a light mode, so it wasn't hard to press. If you might check and realize that message on that poster is strengthening an opinion people have of him as being a straightforward person. It might be a relatively straightforward person. So while everybody knows that no politician is clean, it might be the politician that spoke the harshest against thieves in the past. Doesn't mean it's not stealing, but it might be the politician that maybe inside party politics in a ward, he fought, there was some money some people wanted to go and steal and to share amongst themselves, and he shouted and said, no, let's share with everybody. He might have one or two stories like that in the past. So that now when he says that only the righteous can shake a then it might be that once people see that message, it spurs conversations in the area. People are like, I'm that guy, who you ní 2016, nígbà táwọn kìíní fẹ́ gbé owó local government lọ, òun ló máa pe kìíní kan. I don't know those stories. There might be stories, in fact, that such a message, while I, for my bias, indeed thinks that most of them are probably not righteous in quotes. I feel like it's in fact a reach for them to use that word right.
Sorry, Victor Fatimi has left the meeting. He will join back. But I don't know. I don't know if you're getting value for your time, right? And you are learning a thing or two. Like I said, if you have any questions, please share your questions. Get your questions ready. and we can ask Victor. Anyone wants to contribute to what Victor has said so far? Welcome, Vicky, Abayomi, Eniola, Olayinka, Abibola, I2C, Brand Elite, Vicky. Thanks for joining. A couple of people have joined and probably network kicked them out. But if you have anything to contribute to the conversation, please feel free to unmute your mic and say a thing or two while we wait for Victor to get back. Anyone there? Okay. No one has anything to say. Do you have any questions?
Okay. I was just patiently waiting if any other person will come up first before I say anything.
Okay, all right.
Am I audible?
Yes, please, you are.
Okay. I will just quickly do a background story. If you look at how I got to be part of this meeting, it was slightly coincidental, if that's the best word. If I had not joined your live session this afternoon, I might have missed this kind of. So
Yeah.
I'll bring out a point there to emphasize on the need that advertising cannot be too much. You have scheduled your your poster up online, which I somehow missed that. I didn't see the poster not up until when you talked about the event on your live session. So that's to re-emphasize the necessity of consistent advertising. It was through word of the mouth I got to be part of this meeting. So that's like a behind the scenes story. But I've been taking note, and somehow if I had missed this, I do not know when such opportunity would have come to, get a handful of this knowledge that was shared. The thing is, this is just me having a conversation, not necessarily a question or anything. So in case anybody has a question, feel free to step me down. Political season or campaign season are actually a very interesting one, because that is when we get to see all of this. I'm looking for the best words to complement them, either top officials or the second word coming to mind is adult or elderly people come and
Sorry, Abayomi, I think Victor is back. Let's just give him that. Yeah, Victor, so sorry about the break-in transmission.
Yes. I need to just round up what I need to say. I actually need to be out of here in like 8 minutes, actually.
Okay.
Just quickly round up what I was saying. I was just saying that despite me making that video and my opinion, that messaging might in fact have been great. It's difficult to tell if it was great or not. We would need to analyze a little more deeper. We would need to understand their intentions, and we'll need to also check with how their intentions affected people. We will never be able to know. So my last encouragement here for all of us, I think, as we analyze designs or comms, we should know that some of these answers are not as straightforward. If you are very quick to think something is bad or a message or a copy is bad, it's because you are probably holding too strongly to some opinions, and you have one view of how things should be done. Your view might in fact be the most popular view, but it does not mean, Of course, you may still think something is not good enough, but you need to leave a little space for the scenarios in which that same thing might in fact be good. Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow. This is me saying thank you very much. While you left and came back, I asked if people had questions. Unfortunately, no one asked questions.
Okay, great. That's more time.
Yeah. But Abayomi was saying something about how you talked about advertising, depending on the strength that a particular party or aspirant needs to ride on, right, to gain votes, right? How that is a very crucial factor, right? Another, but more importantly, the strategy,
right?
Yes,
it's the most important.
That's what
And
Wow, thank you very
one
much.
of the most underestimated things or models is SWOT analysis. As basic, we're all now just straight around SWOT analysis. Nobody even
Yeah.
pays attention to SWOT any longer. One of the greatest models ever. And that's where strategy begins from, which
True.
is what's our strength? So a Peter Obi campaign, for example, strength, if they did such analysis at the beginning. Strengths, number one, NSAS is just a few months ago.
Yeah.
And we're the closest to hope for these young, embittered, disgruntled, frustrated young Nigerians. Strength
Yeah.
number two, we now indeed look like we're different from the past, especially looking at how PDP kicked you out of the
Yeah.
party and gave you no
Yeah.
chance. That gives you a sense of empathy and emotional opportunity to connect with people. They see you as different. Strength number two. Strength number three, then you can go on and on and on. Strength number three, the North, while it is the biggest space, has three other candidates are all strong in the North, meaning they do own the entire block of the North, which I've been telling
Yeah.
people that's one of the
Yeah.
chances of Peter Obi in this election. Peter Obi may not get enough votes in the North, but nobody will get enough votes in the North. That's the thing.
Absolutely.
Because the North is so huge, but Kokaso would bite a huge chunk of it. Atiku will bite a huge chunk of it. Tinubu will bite a huge chunk of it. So, unlike the Buhari effect, where everybody went for Buhari, essentially, in this case, nobody has that court following that cuts across. Kokaso has his Kano and a bit of Katsina. Tinubu has Northeast thanks to Shetima, and Atiku still has a great deal of other parts, and he will still get good percentages here and there. So, even if Peter Obi has just 5% of the North, it's not a big problem because the rest nobody can have 60%. You just need to again, these are things that in SWOT analysis you will have analyzed. That's the beginning. That's where you start from. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you very much for your time, Victor. So Victor, for those who just joined, is an amazing guy. He's an amazing person, brand consultant, identity campaigner. He didn't talk to us about that.
Okay, let's end there, right? Let me take that as the last question.
Okay. Yeah, so he's currently the chief brand officer at Mainstack. Mainstack is a no-code platform that makes it easier for creators to present their best work and sell their best ideas. And honestly, when Victor joined Mainstack, I can tell that he's actually the chief marketing officer.
Yeah, my full title is actually chief brand and marketing officer. Yeah, that's the full version of my title. But I prefer the chief brand officer. Awesome. That's what I'm more passionate about. I feel like it influences brand and influences marketing and everything else. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So to answer your question, identity campaigner, as a sense, a key part of my voice. I have three strong opinions as a personal brand, and one of it is that people should know yourself and be proud of yourself, including your differences and your peculiarities. I feel like I've seen myself in a world where there is so much of blending in and too little of standing out. Just if you look at, let's take fashion for example, you would find to date, banks here in Lagos or in Nigeria, everybody still wants you to wear suits, and it has to be suits in an exact same way. Even churches will feel like you're not a strong enough, a responsible pastor if you're not suited up, leading a parish. There's so much of codes and uniforms that society does not encourage difference. But I get it. That's because uniformity is easier to manage. It's easier to arrange. Standing out can create problems. But I am for standing out. I'm not angry with uniformity. I know the role it plays, but I am personally for standing out. I am constantly seeking to find my own identity. And I feel like more people should. You should stop being shy to be different. The fact that, you must combine some familiarity with some standing out. You can't be, if you're going to dress up, for example, let's say you want to change the shirt you wear, you might at least have to agree with other human beings on what kind of shoes to wear while you then play with the top. Or you might agree with every other person on what trousers to not wear. You must conform on some things. And in business, it's even more important. In your industry, you can't completely be directly opposite every other person, because then the users will be confused. They would not even recognize as a part of that industry. So you still have moments of conformity, but you must seek moments of difference. So I'm an identity campaigner because I'm constantly seeking to encourage individuals and businesses to say, don't be shy. Everybody is A, but B is more natural for you. Let's find a way to make B work. Don't be shy to say you are not like that, even though everybody else is. So that's what identity means for me. Of course, when you cascade it down, it gets to brand identity, which includes visual as well as sonic and other things, as well as identity. But identity begins from it's your ideology, your philosophy, and your values, and how you want to act, what you want to believe. At Four Canvas, for example, before today, that it's more popular for people to juggle work multiple jobs, or before work from home became normal. These are things that we have been friendly with in Four Canvas for the longest. We didn't find examples around us, but we just thought, why not? Like, from a personal opinion point of view, we don't see anything wrong with this. We don't need examples to tell us that this is fine, and we didn't wait for one.
Victor, thank you very much. I can't thank you enough for your
I've enjoyed the
time.
conversation as well.
I'm
Thank you very
sorry,
much.
I ate into your time beyond
It's fine.
this thing.
Once I leave now, it's fine.
Yeah, but I thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye, Victor. Yeah, so